Hey everybody, another episode of Brady Cracker's Kitchen. Tonight is a completely non-authentic chicken and ham fettuccine Alfredo. Anyhow, this is the mise en place chicken and the ham. Well, technically it's prosciutto, some spinach because I didn't have any parsley left. That is about 12 ounces of shredded Parmesan Reggiano. This is heavy cream, and this is a mix of just garlic, garlic powder, celery salt, onion powder, and there's going to be butter, of course. So let's get going. Over here, I've already got my water boiling for the fettuccine, and this is the pan that I'm getting ready to kind of cook off, if you will, the the chicken and everything. I can't get this damn thing to work, so my apologies. We'll try it over here. That'll work. So, first things first, I've got olive oil, and the chicken in this case goes in first. And that's just because prosciutto is very, very thin. And unlike bacon or some of the other Italian hams, it's not as fatty. So it doesn't need to cook as long to kind of give it some color. Alright. Now we take the seasonings. We're just going to sprinkle them right on top and then mix them in. And like I said, for any real Italians out there, don't bitch at me. I know this isn't authentic. So, I really don't care. Whenever you cook for you or your family, you make it how you want to make it. You know, I know what Janine likes, so I don't have to worry about it too much. You know, and it's very rare that I will go full-on authentic with cooking. You make what's good. You just toss these around. You don't want to overcook it because they're gonna simmer for a while with the heavy cream and a little bit of the pasta water and all of that. So just going to give them a little color, a little browning. Then I'm going to throw the ham in this case prosciutto. And if you don't have prosciutto or you don't like ham, then you can use bacon. Everybody loves bacon, right? So this is actually just a really easy dish to make. I made it one time for Campbell Christmas, I want to say it was. And I had to make a couple of different versions because her sister loves shrimp. Janine won't eat it. And her dad and mom like shrimp, but everybody liked all of it. And that's really all that counts. Alright, so my water is boiling completely now. And I'm just using box fettuccine from Food Lion. A lot of times I'll make my own pasta, but you got to kind of feel that. So you just put it in. You don't do nothing to it, you just leave it. It's heavily salted water. Alright, it's staying at a boil, so that's good. I'm going to start my timer. 9 minutes for al dente. I'm going to keep mixing this around so I can just, like I said, it doesn't have to be grilled or anything else, although I've grilled the chicken ahead of time and then made the Alfredo. It's really delicious. But it's been raining for basically 5 days straight here, so alright, now we're getting there. Now I'm going to add the ham, or in this case, prosciutto, which is ham, by the way. It's just a really expensive ham. Stir that all up. Just kind of mix it all in. And the reason I'm using tongs instead of a spoon is because once I add the pasta in and everything, and you go to serve it, you got to have tongs. Those little pasta forks don't work. Because fettuccine will sometimes stick, I tend to move it around occasionally in the boiling water. Alright, now I'm going to add spinach. Like I said, the only reason I'm using spinach. Actually, you know what? I'm going to drop the butter in first. That's 3 tablespoons of butter. Everything's better with butter, from what I've been told. It gives the sauce a nice little velvety sort of texture. But the next thing to go in is spinach, because like I said, I don't have parsley. I thought I did. I thought I had some fresh parsley or some frozen parsley from my garden, but I did not. So you make do. Just something green. You can put in whatever you want, honestly. See, and all I'm doing with the pasta over here is just making sure I get it off the bottom, so that you don't get any stuck, burnt on pieces. Hi, Bubba. My sous chefs are out of view, but they're here. They're keeping track. They're watching. As soon as that chicken started and the ham went in and the butter, they both came running. They're like, hey, we smell Dad's cooking, and they love that. They really do. I mean, usually there's one laying on each little mat next to the stove. So I'm going to let those cook for a little more. The butter's almost melted. Now it's time for the spinach, or parsley, or whatever green you want. You know, honestly, like I said, it's yours. Do what you want. And I'm putting this in a little bit earlier than I would parsley because the spinach wilts. It's a little, you know, parsley, you don't got to worry about it so much. But spinach, you need to cook it down a little bit. So there we go. Mixing it up. And this is on medium, a little above medium heat, but I have an electric stove. If you have a gas stove, that might be a hair too much, but I haven't had a gas stove in 20 years, so. Alright, the pasta's getting there. It ain't ready yet. It's got about 3 or 4 minutes to go. You gotta let everything kind of get heated through. I didn't add any salt yet because the pasta water is very salty. I always heavily salt the water, and there is celery salt with the chicken, and then the Parmesan is fairly salty, so all in all, pretty good. Oh, I got my new hat today for Father's Day. It came the day after Memorial Day, which is kind of funny. From my son in Okinawa, he sent me a boonie hat, a woodland hat. It's been well over 35 years since I wore one of these. So I'm really glad that arrived. All right, I'm gonna pour in the heavy cream. That's 2 cups. I have more if I need it. And I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit because I want this to thicken. I didn't make a roux. Some people make this with a roux, a little bit of butter and flour and garlic to thicken it. But normally, if you cook the cream and everything in it hot enough, it'll come down. It'll get down to what you need from a texture-wise. And if it over thickens, that's fine. I've got a whole pot of pasta water. So, anyhow, that's part 1. I'll Well, you know, I can let it go. That pasta isn't quite ready yet. Nor is the cream, the actual, I guess you call Alfredo. And that's partially my fault. Normally I will heat the milk or the stock on the side and just completely forgot about it this time. That happens quite a bit the older you get. So I'll just turn that heat up a little bit to get this thing bubbling. Then all we're going to do is turn the noodles off. You don't drain the noodles or anything else. You take them straight from the pot, put them in here, and then you add the cheese and you start stirring everything. The cheese is what really thickens this. In fact, I'm starting to get a really decent simmer here now. So I'm going to add half my cheese, and I'll add and then I'm going to add more after the pasta gets in. But the cheese really helps thicken this up. Yeah, I got a good simmer going now. And it's going to thicken up relatively quickly with the cheese. Once that's done, I'm going to drop in the noodles after the cheese melts. Then put the rest of the cheese on top of the noodles, mix it all up, and just let it simmer for a bit. Looks and smells fabulous. So, no need to despair. Yeah, it's already thickening, I can tell. Just by how it kind of coats. You can hear it simmering. You can also hear the noodles. They're going. They're done. I'm going to move them off the heat. Turn that off. I'm going to give that a second to just thicken a little more. And if I really wanted to make it really thick, I would just make a little cornstarch slurry and toss it in there, but I don't. If I leave it like this, it'll be just fine. And now, you grab the pasta straight from the water, put it in there. And the pasta adds starch, which will also help thicken this. So, this is going to be good. This is one of Janine's favorite meals that I make, as well as her sister. Make sure you get all your pasta too, don't waste it. I hate wasting food. Alright, I think that's pretty much all of it. Now what you do is you just mix this all in. Literally, just pick it up, fold it over. I'm going to turn the heat down quite a bit now. I had it up to 7 on the electric. which is, I guess, a medium high. And we're just going to let this kind of cook, just like this. And then that'll be it. I hope everybody has a great night and had a great weekend. Brady Crocker, out.